A long time ago, in a quiet place by the Sea of Galilee, Jesus and his disciples had just arrived. The word about him had spread far and wide. Everyone was coming, hoping for a miracle, or just to hear his words. Therefore, a massive crowd followed him everywhere. Jesus climbed a hill and sat down, surrounded by his disciples. Many people had traveled from distant places, eager to see the man they had heard so much about. Jesus looked up then, seeing that a vast multitude was coming toward him. He asked Philip where they can buy bread to feed the people. He asked him to test him, for he knew what he was about to do. The disciples did not get it. They suggested sending the crowds away so that they could find their own food. But Jesus had a different idea. He looked at his disciples and said, "You give them something to eat." The disciples were confused. "How can we feed so many people?" They wondered. "We don't have enough money or food." One of the disciples pointed at the little boy who had 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what were they among thousands of people? Jesus told the disciples to make people sit down, and there was much grass in that place. The men alone numbered about 5,000. Jesus took the loaves and fish, looked up to heaven, and gave thanks to God. He then broke the loaves into pieces and handed them to his disciples, telling them to give it to the people. He did the same with the fish. To everyone's amazement, the bread and fish didn't run out. The disciples kept distributing it, and the crowd kept eating. As the food was passed around, it seemed like there was always more. When everyone had eaten as much as they wanted, the disciples gathered up the leftover food. And to everyone's surprise, there were still 12 full baskets of leftover food, more than they had started with. People were astonished and grateful. The crowd was amazed by what they had just witnessed. They knew that Jesus had performed a miracle. They began to say, "Surely this is the prophet we have been expecting." When Jesus saw that they were ready to force him to be king, he withdrew to a quiet place to pray and be alone with God. This story teaches us that Jesus Christ embodied and modeled godliness on earth. What he demonstrated was the ultimate example on faith in God. He came to guide humanity, demonstrating how believers should walk the walk of faith. Did you notice that he instructed for people to sit down before he even prayed? Because in his understanding, there was no question that God was going to answer his prayer. God expects us to have that same attitude when we pray. This is confirmed in Mark 11, verse 24, which says, "I tell